More like everybody. Thank you for tapping into another episode of Unbiased Opinions. We are your hosts, the spiritual wanderer Suave.
And the one and only Lenon.
And yeah, as you can see, our numbers are decreasing. no,
we took a couple rain checks.
We fired some people. We missing two of the other hosts. They got busy with other things, so they're not going to be here today. So it's just going to be us two. So yeah, we in here.
I think we could come up with some interesting shit. So
yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Well, because just to kick it off. I saw Black Adam this past weekend.
We love those,
right? I know you don't care for it. You like, man, I don't care about them superhero movies anyway. But but freaking when I watched it, I never had a feeling of, dang, this movie is really good and really bad at the exact same time.
At what point in the movie, like the intro or what?
To be honest, it was like right after the first act. Like when I was first watching it, I was like, oh, this movie's good. And then right after like you first see Black Adam on screen, I was like, oh, this movie's starting to get bad now. It's starting to get crazy.
For context, what's a bad superhero movie to you?
Well, see, and this is one of the questions that I was gonna pose to us, but I'll say after I say this. The story to me was very messy and had like a lot of ridiculous holes where you'd be like, what is going on? That don't make no sense whatsoever. And then like, I hate to say it, but The Rock is not really a good actor. So
why do you hate to say that?
Well, because I know a lot of people love The Rock. And in general, I feel like he's like very one note. And some people love that. But you can really see that in this movie if you like pay attention. You're like, okay, he only got like one line every so often, and the rest of the movie he's just like making faces, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He had like one monologue, and it was just like, typical superhero stuff.
I mean, that's always how he's been to me, though.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. I think early on when I was a kid and I watched WWE and stuff, I was more of a fan. And I'm not hating her. Like, obviously, he's found his niche and all that, but
oh yeah,
I've never like thought like, okay, The Rock is in this, so
it's gonna be a good movie.
It's gonna be a banger. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I'm not that much of a fan of The Rock, but I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, he's just playing one character in every single movie he's in.
Yeah.
But in this one, like, it started off. Like I said, I thought it was gonna be good, and the visuals are good, and the action's good. But then if you like just think a little bit on the story, you're just gonna be like, what's going on? Or you pay attention to some of the acting, it's like, man, it's not good. It's not that good.
Yeah.
But it made me think of a thing, like, because there's this post that this girl posted on Twitter, and she was like, I enjoy my superhero movies because I'm not overanalyzing movies like other people. And I'm thinking, like, is it the fact that we as people overanalyze things why we can't enjoy it as much?
I think we've had this conversation a couple times on the podcast already, but just with like social media now and stuff,
Yeah.
Like even like me and Snoop were talking about it last week, but like even like the NBA and like sports and stuff, everyone thinks they're like an analyst now or like a movie critic on Twitter and social media, and so it's kind of hard to like not hear bad reviews and things of that sort, you know. I don't know, it just feels like everyone's so critical nowadays, and so it's kind of hard to like, there were some bad movies growing up that you watch nowadays and you're like, wow, this was actually like really bad.
Yeah.
But I think since it wasn't in the era of like hypercritical people, that it's more like nostalgic for us. Yeah. And people like appreciate it. But
you know, because what I think it might have to do a lot with things like movies over time have kind of evolved and gotten better and fixed some of like the flaws. Like they know how to tell better stories in movies and stuff nowadays. So when you have holes like that, it's like, oh, we're accustomed to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. We've seen better. So it's like now we expect better, you know? And I feel like I don't think it's in a sense of like we're being over analytic, but I think it's just like people have raised the bar over time in movies. So it's like now we're like, we expect better. Yeah. So in a way, we're a little spoiled with.
But I think that's everything, though.
Yeah.
Even like I said, like the NBA, like it's a constant argument of like, yo, who would MJ be in today's game?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, like nowadays they shoot a lot more 3-pointers, and you know, kids are coming out of college, and like if you can't stay in the league unless you got a 3-point shot. Like even if you're 7'2", you know, whereas they used to just throw you on the block and play defense and grab rebounds.
Right.
And so I think everything is just like, and I think within that, like within the evolution of everything, on top of everyone having access to information and access to like sharing their opinions and shit.
Yeah.
That it's created like a cycle of everyone constantly wanting more.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say like everybody constantly wanting to share their opinion more.
Well, and I think that's within it. Like they're sharing their opinion that they think this can be better, and this is why they think it can. And then they talk to somebody who says, "No, I disagree," and then they go back and forth, and then they may agree on, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, then this is progressive," and then it just constantly is moving in the sense of like people just constantly wanting more.
Yeah. I mean, you saying sports and stuff like that, I was thinking of even with singing, because I mean, back in the day, a lot of people would just be able to put on like a Whitney Houston song on singing shows and singing. People's like, oh my God, you know, like they're doing Whitney. But nowadays, if like singers try to do a Whitney song, people are like, okay, we've heard this before. Like do something different. Let's see something unique. Like everybody does Whitney because like she's really good, but all right, let's see something different.
Yeah.
Step outside the box.
Which is kind of weird though too, because I feel like music's one of those things that like constantly reverts back. I think movies is there too. Like everything, every movie is either like a book or like a comic, or like all the superhero movies are from comics. Even the best TV shows, Walking Dead and all these things are from comics. There's really like everything's like adaptations nowadays. Even singing, like that you hear Rihanna's song, it's Carlos Santana, you know, Maria, but they remix it, and you know, there's like that's weird with music and movies. I don't know what it is. It's just like straight like just revisionist shit. Yeah, like remixing shit. I don't know, and so but within progressions also. It's, you know, they do revert back to all the shit.
Yeah. It's just crazy to think, though, how that we're just constantly evolving, constantly changing. So we need to do better. But I just think the movie was entertaining. It just was bad, too.
Do you read books of movies that you watch, or like are you a comic fan like of these superheroes?
Yeah, some. I watched some comics.
Like,
I
did
read
you already
some
know the
comics.
Black Adam story?
I knew some of it. Some of it.
Well, I was
But not
wondering
a
if
lot
like
of it.
that goes into you being like, nah, like this is not how it was.
No, it was. I mean, some stuff, because some stuff just didn't make sense. But it all had to do with just being a movie person and watching the story. Like, it just doesn't make sense. For
Yeah.
like, I'll give you a small example. It's not really a spoiler for anything, but like in the movie, he was speaking a different language in when it first showed him before he becomes the hero or whatever. And then when he's like released and they release him, this dude's speaking perfect English, and I'm like, but how? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how if before that you weren't speaking any English at all? Like, when did you learn?
All of a sudden, you know
Yeah.
English, and it's kind of like they just got lazy. Like, man, I don't think we got it in the budget to like
Yeah.
explain him learning English and shit.
Yeah.
So, but we need him to be speaking English.
because it's like, okay, The Rock's probably
Yeah.
not gonna be good at executing this language through the whole movie, so we gotta change it up. But I was like, it would have been, and then he had no accent. Like, all these other people had accents, and he didn't have no accent. So it was like, why do you? How does this work? You're the only one.
I think that's kind of my issue with superhero movies. Like, they cast more for looks as opposed
yeah.
to
Actually,
acting
yeah.
ability.
Yeah, and I mean, but some people actually have the acting chops along with the looks, but it's
Yeah.
rare.
Yeah.
But I see what you mean though.
Yeah.
Because like with The Rock, I was just kind of like, okay, it's just because he's like a big dude who kind of looks like a superhero, got the superhero build, so it works. But
Yeah.
it just wasn't working in context because he's not a good actor.
Yeah.
That's
And I
the
think
crazy
if
part.
even if me and you were right in it, and we came up with like, all right, who's the perfect person for this?
Yeah,
Prior to even knowing who he can act and shit, you're like, all right, The Rock,
yeah.
big brolic dude.
But see, I think if I was honestly like a casting person or somebody like who was like doing a story, like if I thought they looked the part and they came and their acting was bad, I'd be like, this ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't gonna work now.
Yeah, but I feel like just with like big budget movies, they feel like they could cover it up with like
The visual effects and the action and stuff.
graphics and everything.
Like, look at this. This is so cool. But to me, it stands out. And I guess it's because I'm a movie person, so I like pay attention to stuff like that. Like how we were talking about Nope, how we like really enjoy like the depth and stuff like that and the story. So it's like that stuff matters to me. So when I'm watching a movie and the story's like all over the place and doesn't make sense, I'm like, this junk is trash.
Yeah.
Like, get this off my screen. Like, what?
Well, I guess I am relieved then. I'm open to your opinions when you have a movie recommendation now, because I thought you were just like superhero movie or die in the sense of like.
Oh no, not at all. Like I love, to be honest, I'm more into movies that have depth to it and story to it. Like a lot of the movies that I really like have good stories, like The Arrival, Interstellar, like stuff like that. Like they're sci-fi, but the stories underlying is really good, where you're just like, dang, I can see the message of like what this movie actually means, the depth to it, and then the acting. Like, I like stuff like that. I don't really pay attention. I guess comic book movies is more so like a fun thing for me, but still some of them have good storylines where I'm like, okay, this is good.
Yeah. Couple of the Batmans, couple of the Spider-Mans.
Yeah, you see some movies where you're like, oh, this was actually a really good story, as well as just like a cool little popcorn movie that you can just turn on and, oh yeah, they're fighting, that's tight.
Yeah, exactly.
But Black Adam was one where I was like, this is good, but geez, like, man, like there's a little kid in there, and I was like, I know kids have a hard time acting, some kids, but this kid, I was like, man, I would have said cut like 5 times on this. Cut, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Maybe they did, and that's as good as it got, bro. They like,
this the best we gonna get,
yeah,
and that's it. But man, I don't know.